even though I did disrobe, I am dressed. At least I think I am. Amazing conference, isn't it? Really, I feel really happy to be speaking at this point in the conference, is to travel in the wake of Joanna and Vedana. And I wanted to say that I'd never heard before that Gandhi prayed every day to be more womanly. That's amazing. And I want to actually begin with a Gandhi story that she reminded me of. So this has to do with feeding your demons, and it's a story of Gandhi when he was doing the salt protests, the salt strikes, and the government of India was getting very upset with him. They didn't really know what to do about this because in some sense they weren't doing anything wrong, and at the same time it was obstructing everything in India. And so the army decided to send somebody to try to talk some sense into him and threaten him with arrest. And so he was living out in the country at the time, and his followers heard about this, and they went to him and they said, "What should we do? Should we put little nails in the road so that the car breaks down and gets flat tires on the way here so they somehow won't arrive?" And Gandhi thought for a moment, and then he said, "We will do no such thing." And they said, "Well, what will we do?" And he said, "We will invite them for tea." And so that's what they did. And they fed him biscuits, cookies, and tea. And Gandhi talked to this army officer who had come to arrest him or threatened to arrest him all afternoon. They kept pouring more tea, offering more cookies. And by the end of the afternoon, this enemy had become an ally. And that's really what feeding your demons is about. It's about feeding, not fighting. And as MacAndrew said, it's a practice that was begun by a woman in the 11th century named Achiklaptran, and she developed a practice that became quite well known as really quite a unique kind of practice in Tibet of offering the body as food to various kinds of guests, and particularly moving toward that which threatens you. And so the practice of feeding your demons is based on that. And I'm going to talk a little bit, but I want part of this to be experiential, so I want to take you through the experience of feeding a demon this afternoon. And I want to tell you also a story that really alerted me to the effectiveness of this practice. It happened in the early 90s, and I was teaching this practice as a way to teach the traditional Chöd practice. So as a way to sort of make it more personally applicable to the people who are learning a practice that you sing in Tibetan and you use a drum and a bell and it's all very foreign. So I wanted some way for them to connect with it in a personal way. And so I was teaching this in California, and before I went out, I was living near New York at the time. Before I went out there, an old friend of mine called me, who I had known when I lived in Washington State in the early 70s, and we talked for a while. His name was Fred. And then he said, "I have to tell you something." And I said, "What?" And he said, "I have AIDS. And it's getting bad. I hadn't seen him for a long time. And I said, well, come to the Chud retreat. And I think this will help you work with your fear, if nothing else. And so he came, and during the retreat, we practiced this 5-step practice. And so I said to him, Fred, did you work with the AIDS demon afterwards? And he said, no, it's too big. And I said, Fred, you really should work with that because it's big. And so we did it again, and he did work with his AIDS demon. And during the process, you see it. You see it in front of you. And he told me later that it was so huge that it was bigger than a house when he saw it. But he did continue through the whole practice, and he fed it. And then he continued to do so after this retreat. And about 6 months later, it was back in the days of letters. Remember letters? I got a letter from him, and he said something very strange has happened. He was a veteran, and he was in a test group with AZT, and so he was getting tested every 3 months to see where his T cells were. And his T cells were, when he began this, were down to almost 0. And he said, my T cells are going up. That means his immune system's getting better. And he said, every time I go, they go up more, and they're almost up to normal. And they're asking me, what are you doing? And I just say, oh, a little meditation. And so his T cells went up to, they were a little low, but normal. And he lived until last year, and he didn't die of AIDS. And so that experience with Fred made me realize it was such a sort of scientific proof, I guess you could say, of the effectiveness of this practice. And so that made me really feel some urgency about sharing it and communicating it to others. What's radical about this practice in terms of radical compassion is that we are going toward that which we would normally avoid. Not only going toward it, but we're dialoguing with it and we're feeding it our own body, which might feel counterintuitive. Like, why would you do that? And that it is radical, and it is based on the idea that when we really let go of dualistic fixation and we offer that clinging to self with genuine compassion, that there's liberation in that. So in the biography of Machik Lapten, the story that really first tells you about what she's going to teach is when she's really quite a young woman still. And actually, it's a story about her disrobing, so that's kind of funny. But anyway, I haven't thought about that before. But anyway, she's receiving empowerment, and she's in a monastery called Dranang in Tibet, in central Tibet. And there's a moment in the empowerment when the blessings descend from the wisdom beings. And so it's that moment in the empowerment, and as the blessings descend, she rises up from her seat and she starts to dance. And she dances the 24 dances of the Dakinis. And then she passes through the wall of the monastery, and she flies up into a tree where she strips to be naked. And so there's this young 20-year-old Tibetan woman naked in a tree. And Tibetans aren't like some of us Westerners who take off our clothes fairly freely. They're very modest people. And so for her to take off her clothes and just be there naked, it was like a metaphor of her experience of naked awareness. And so as she's there, then there's a Naga below her who considers this tree his property. A Naga is a water spirit. And so everyone's so scared of this water spirit that they won't even look at this tree, never mind go near it, never mind fly up into it naked. And so there she is, and he's furious that how dare she be up there in his tree. And so he comes toward her to attack her, and she just stays in samadhi. She's not afraid. And so he can't get a hook into her, he can't get a reaction. So he decides to get his friends, and he conjures up an army of Nagas to attack her and to get her to be afraid of him. And so they come toward her. She's still there. This is still in the same night. So if we see this not so much as literal, although it could be literal in the sense of the spirits coming, but really as forces coming out of her own unconscious mind, like the night of the Buddha's enlightenment. So these energies are coming toward her, and she sees them coming to attack her, and she moves not only to stay in meditation, but she moves toward them and offers her body as food. So take me, eat me. And so what happens with this energy coming toward her is in that moment of her offering, their energy changes, transforms into the ally. And they say to her, we pledge that we will always support you, we'll always be with you, and all of your followers. So the demon becomes the ally. She didn't defeat the demon by conjuring up an ally. The demon energy itself became the ally. And that's what happens in feeding your demons. It's not that you get some other energy that becomes the ally. The energy that locked in our demons is the ally when it's freed. And so what I mean by demons, just so you can start thinking about what you might like to work with this afternoon, is anything that's taking your energy. So that could be a worry or a concern of some kind. It could be a fear. It could be an illness, a chronic pain. It could be something like depression, anxiety, grief. Anything that you feel is draining you. Can you think of anything? Financial worries. How are you going to pay your school loans? Yeah. So our demons are not something external. They're the energies of fixation that manifest in an amazing variety of ways. It's amazing. It's endless amounts of demon. So that's what I mean. I don't mean, like the devil or, something exterior. It's what's dragging you down, what's taking your energy. And if it's something to do with a relationship, the other person is not the demon. Sorry to tell you, but you'll work if you have relationship demons, and there is a chapter in my book called Demons in Love that is about that, about what comes up in relationship. So you'll work with your reaction to that relationship if you want to work with a relationship demon. So the story of Machi contrasts with a story from the West that to me is a very interesting comparison because it has to do with another water spirit. And if we think about the water as the unconscious mind and these eruptions coming out of that, it's very similar. So it's the story of Hercules and the Hydra. You know that story? Hercules, in his 12 labors, one of them is to go down and kill this water spirit, or Hydra, that has 9 heads and many legs. So the legs are under the water and the heads are above. And so he has to go eliminate this monster that's killing people. And so he goes down with his nephew Aeolus, and note that there's an ally here too. And so he gets the water spirit, the Hydra, out of its cave by shooting poisonous arrows at it. And then as it approaches him, he gets into the water. And by the way, this is a bottomless lake that he's in. And so he doesn't know at what point he's going to step off into that bottomless cliff. And so he's walking into the water to try to get to this Hydra, and he gets near it, but the Hydra also has another ally, which is a giant crab. So the crab gets his foot and starts dragging him to the edge of the bottomless lake. And so he starts cutting off the heads of the Hydra, but every time he cuts off one head, 2 more appear. And so it's getting more and more heads, and then he cuts off those heads, and then those heads multiply. Very similar to our war on terrorism. And so at a certain point, he realizes this is not working, unlike us. And so he gets Aeolus to get a branch of a pine tree, light it on fire, and then they do this kind of teamwork where he cuts off the head and then Aeolus cauterizes the stump. And that works fairly well. And so they get this system going, but there's one more head left. And it's the head of, at the center of the Hydra, and it's immortal. That's the quality of this head, immortal. And so then he realizes that even though the head is immortal, the neck isn't. So he takes his sword and he slashes through it, and it falls off. And then they cauterize the neck, but the head is rolling around in the lake, and the eyes are bulging, it's foaming at the mouth, it's still alive. And so he takes the head and he takes it out of the water, and then he puts it on the ground, and he finds a giant boulder, and he's Hercules, so he can move this boulder, and he rolls it over his head, and he's done. That's the end of the story. But is he really done? Because that immortal head is still there. And if anything happens, like a little earthquake or a little crisis in his life, that boulder will roll off and that immortal head will be there. And so here we have a very different story, right? Of the water spirit, the working with the water spirit through killing trying to kill it, and it's not really dead. It hasn't really been taken care of, and it's not transformed. So those two stories are really two different paradigms that represent not only the way that we deal with our own demons, but the way we deal with our problematic people in our society, and the problematic people in our family or in our organization. And so what's exciting to me about this is from an 11th century yogini, but it's offering us a new paradigm that has relevance, great relevance, in changing the way we deal with our problems, both personally and then moving out from there to our communities, our organizations, our schools, and our government, and so on. And so if we move from fighting to feeding, from fighting to nurturing that which is problematic, then we can transform the demon into an ally. So now I'd like to take you through this process. Are you ready? Okay. So in the process, we're going to, at a certain point, you're going to become the demon and the ally. So when that happens, you're going to stand up and face your seat where you're sitting now, but it won't be for very long. You won't have to stand up for very long. So just know that you're going to do that. And we'll do this with our eyes closed as much as possible. And I'll take you through a little relaxation breathing to begin with. So close your eyes. And come into being present in your seat with your body. And then, as you breathe in, breathe into any physical tension that you're holding in your body. Feel where you're holding physical tension in your body. Breathe into it. And then imagine that that tension rides out on the out-breath. Breathe into the physical tension. And breathe out. And release that tension. And now, notice any emotional tension that you're holding. Feel where you hold that emotional tension in your body. Breathe into it. And let it go on the out-breath. And now notice any mental tension that you're holding, any worries or concepts, thoughts that are blocking you. Feel where you're holding mental tension in your body. Breathe into it. And release it on the exhalation. And then we'll take a moment to generate the intention to do this practice for the benefit of all beings. It's a moment to generate a heartfelt intention, motivation, to do it for ourselves and all beings. And now we'll take a moment so you can think about which demon you want to work with this afternoon. It could be something physical, it could be emotional, it could be a long-standing issue like chronic physical or psychological condition. Whatever feels is most up for you, what's feeling most draining to you right now, and choose to work with that. Okay. So now in thinking about what you've decided to work on, perhaps recalling a situation when this came up very strongly, an incident or a moment, or perhaps it's very strong right now. And as you tune into this demon, scan your body and notice where you hold it most strongly in your body. So thinking about it, scan your body and notice where you're holding it most strongly in your body. And bring your attention to that place in your body. If this were to have a color, what color would it be? What shape does it take in your body? What shape? What's its consistency or texture like? Its consistency. And what temperature does it have? What's its temperature? And now intensify this feeling in your body with its color, its shape, its consistency, and its temperature. Bring your full attention to that area in your body. And now imagine that shape with its color and its consistency, its temperature, that all moves out of your body. The whole thing moves out of your body and it becomes personified as a being in front of you. A being with arms and legs, heads. Just notice what you see. It moves out and it becomes a being. Notice its size. How big is it? What color is it? Does it have a gender? How dense is its body? What's its density? What's the surface of its body like? Its skin or whatever's covering its body, what's that like? And now notice, what's the look in its eyes? The look in its eyes. And what does its character appear to be like? Its character. And what's its emotional state? Its emotional state. And now notice something about it that you didn't see before. Something you didn't notice before. And now we'll ask some questions of the demon. I'll give you the questions, and then you can, under your breath, just ask them. I'll give them one at a time. What do you want? What do you really need? How will you feel if you get what you really need? And now, keeping your eyes closed as much as possible, stand up and face your chair. And as you take this position, become the demon. You can make a gesture if you like, or take the stance or the posture of the demon, or simply feel yourself in that body as that color, that gender, that size. How does it feel to be in the body of the demon? Does it feel the same as you're in it, as it looked in front of you, or is it different being in the body? Really become that color, that density. Feel it in your body. And then notice how your normal self looks from the demon's point of view. How does your normal self look? And now we'll answer those questions that we asked, really being in the body of the demon. I'll give you the beginning of each answer, and then to yourself, repeat the beginning and then finish the response. What I want is what I really need is, what I really need is. If I get what I really need, I will feel. If I get what I really need, I will feel. This is the feeling. If I get what I really need, I will feel. And now, sit down and come back to your original seat. Again, keeping your eyes closed as much as possible. Take a moment to come back into your own body and see the demon in front of you again. Come back into your own body. See the demon in front. And now imagine that your own body dissolves. Your own body melts into nectar. Notice the color of the nectar. The quality of this nectar that your body has become is the feeling that the demon will have when it gets what it really needs. So the quality of this nectar is the answer to the third question, whatever that was. Your body dissolves into the nectar that has the quality of that feeling. And it moves toward the demon, and it feeds it. It nourishes it. It feeds it. And there's an infinite supply of nectar. And it's going toward the demon. The demon is able to take it in. It may be drinking it. It may go in through the surface of its body, or it may be poured into the top of its head. Just notice how it takes it in. It's an infinite supply, feeding it, nurturing it. Feeding it to complete satisfaction. As you're feeding it, notice what happens to it. Just watch. It's gradually becoming completely satisfied. The nectar is pouring in. It has the feeling the demon will have if it gets what it really needs. And now see it as completely satisfied and notice what's happened. It's completely satisfied. If there's a being that remains after the demon is completely satisfied, ask that being, are you the ally? Are you the ally? If it is, we'll work with that being. If it's not, or if when you fed the demon it dissolved into emptiness, or it dissolved and melted away completely, then invite the ally to appear. If it said it's not the ally, or if it dissolved completely at the end, invite the ally to appear. Invite the ally to appear. And now, notice the qualities of the ally, the size, either of the being that remained at the end or the ally that you invited. Its size. Does the ally have a gender? What's the density of the ally's body? And the look in its eyes. Notice the look in the ally's eyes. And really feel the presence of the ally. And now we'll ask the ally some questions. I'll give them to you one at a time. How will you help me? How will you protect me? What pledge do you make to me? How can I access you? And now keeping your eyes as closed as much as possible, change places and become the ally. Stand up and turn around, and again, if you feel like it, take the posture of the ally. Simply become the ally. Feel yourself that size, that gender, if it had a gender, color, Really feel yourself in the body of the ally. And now notice what your ordinary self looks like from the ally's point of view. Being in that body. And now answer those questions. I'll give you the beginning of each answer, then repeat that to yourself and finish the answer. I will help you by. I will help you by. I will protect you by. Protect you by. My pledge to you is. My pledge to you is. You can access me by. You can access me by. And now come back and sit down. And see the ally in front of you again. Come back into your own body. Take a moment to come back and feel yourself in your ordinary body, the ally in front of you. And feel the energy of the ally pouring into your body. Pouring into your body, so it's going to your head and your shoulders and the trunk of your body and your arms and hands, all the way down to your toes. And feel this energy of the ally as a real presence in your body. And now imagine that the ally dissolves into light. Your ally dissolves into light. Notice the color of that light. And that light dissolves into you and spreads through every cell in your body. That color, that luminosity spreading through all the cells in your body. Notice how that feels. And now your own body with the integrated energy of the ally dissolves. And rest in what's ever present after the dissolution. Your own body with the integrated energy of the ally dissolves. And just rest. And then gradually come back into your body. And as you come back, notice the feeling of the ally again in your body. Really note how this feels so you can recall it later. How does it feel to have the energy of the ally in your body? And then gradually open your eyes, and as you open your eyes, keep the feeling of the ally in your body. It's feeding your demons. I think we've got probably time for just a couple of questions, if you have any questions from that experience. Does anybody have a question, or are you all happy with your allies? Okay. Is that somebody?
Hi.
Hi.
I'm curious because it's so internal and unique for everybody. If I did it right. Because I went to the relationship part, and and it was hard to distinguish between the demon and the person I was working with. And I'm not sure what my question is exactly, but
Okay. Well, I can maybe speak to that.
yeah.
Yes, so that gets mixed up, right? Because we always think that they're the problem in the relationship.
Yeah.
Dave used to say to me, "Why are you being so difficult?" So, yeah. Well, first of all, that's an important distinction to make to begin with, is to realize that there's a difference between the person and your reaction to them. And so, with feeding your demons, you're really working with your reaction to them. And so you shouldn't be seeing them at all, really. While you're doing it in the 5 steps, you shouldn't be seeing that person. And you want to really, before you begin, come into, okay, how do I feel in relationship to this person? Or how in the relationship do I feel? And then that's what you work with. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, I think we just have maybe one more question.
Again, more of an observation than question, and curiosity. The demon changed, and not before it became an ally.
Yeah.
So as
It
I
morphed.
began, it morphed, and perhaps it was the influence of the Hercules Hydra story, but it was like a head, and then a head, and it just kept revealing different layers until it got to the point where I felt nauseous, and it's like, oh, I didn't expect you, and then every question and answer had that same quality of, as I was asking a question, I was expecting an answer, only the answer I got back was not the answer I expected. So something was up for me on that.
So in that unexpected answer, did you feel like you were really in the body of the demon when you were giving the answer? Or
Yes, I felt
like it wasn't the answer that you thought, but it was the genuine answer.
It was the genuine answer.
Yeah.
It wasn't the answer that I had prepared
Right.
a response to.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. Yay.
Because I had a whole story.
Yeah.
And as that happened more and more, I felt more and more nauseous.
Yeah. And then how'd it go with the ally?
Well, the ally was, again, another completely unexpected person.
Uh-huh.
And there was a merging that happened with the nectar that shocked me. And, I mean, the final answer to the question of how will I access you was, I have been here all along.
Yeah. Yeah. Where have you been?
Plotting and planning my answers.
Yeah, no, that's really great, because it means that you actually got out of your head. And that's why there's so much emphasis in the demon work of your body. How do you feel in the body of the demon? How do you feel in the body of the ally? And so that shows that you actually did it. And, the feeling of nausea and all that, it's genuine. It's something genuine was happening. And then that the answers weren't your canned answers, like, okay, this is what you're probably going to say. That's a good sign.
Not a happy experience. Not a pleasant experience.
What?
Not a pleasant experience.
Oh, not with the ally?
By the end it was.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Okay, everybody. Well, I think we're out of time, and I just want to say thank you to Naropa for this conference, and it's been really personally inspiring to me to be here. And since I have been connected to Naropa off and on, really from the beginning, it's just wonderful to see this is where we are now, and it feels so positive and active, that we're really going to go away with inspiration, and that inspiration can change the world, one person at a time. Thank you, everybody.